Hello, welcome to another round of Ray's Boom Boom Room. I'm your host, Ray Mancini. Sitting here with my ace corner man, cut man, everyday man, Mike Case. Don't you dare do it, Mike. He's got the hand up.
I was just adjusting the microphone. That is all.
I'm going to tell our guest because I'm going to introduce our Chirag. Mike likes to wave to the camera when I'm talking.
I do.
I said,
my
I said,
thing. It's
please
my
don't do
signature.
that. It's distracting.
It's my
It's,
signature.
uncalled
Well,
for.
you got to say hello to everybody.
Uncalled for.
Right.
But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest today. I'm going to get to him in a moment. But first, a couple of things I get out because if I try to wait to the end, I'll forget. First and foremost, I told you, we have wonderful place in town, and I said I want to do this for my friend, so I'm going to do it.
Okay.
It's an unsolicited commercial, of course. If anybody's traveling around town and you're in the Canfield area, 224 in
Right.
Canfield.
You got it.
Stop at Dave's Cosmic Subs on 422, right across from the 11 Exchange. As 11 goes across, you get off at Canfield there, 422. Dave's
Stop saying
Cosmic Subs.
422, though.
It's
It's
a cosmic experience. And, it's just great stuff. And I said I'd do this. I told a friend of mine I would do this for him because he's a great guy, and the place is a great place. I like to hang out. So anyhow,
Do they have a sandwich named after you yet?
no, they have no sandwich named after me because I figure if I do this long enough, maybe that'll happen.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know.
Might as well
No,
try.
you would think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I told I told him I'd advertise to him, and I said, he goes, well, we got no money to pay you. I said, that's okay, just give me subs for life.
What's wrong with that?
That's it. Because how many subs can I eat?
That's like 2 a week.
That's it.
That's nothing.
Maybe.
$15.
Anyhow, so anyhow, if anybody's on Canfield, Dave's Cosmic Subs on Canfield on 224, and if you go in and you say Boom Boom Special, I want the Boom Boom Special, give me some of that Boom Boom Pow, you're gonna get
They'll escort you out.
you're gonna get fit. You're gonna what I say 10. I think it's 10% off your bill.
Oh, yeah.
is,
And
yeah.
he's got to do it now
He's
that
got
you
to
said
do it
that.
because I said it. So anyhow, and also before if anybody watched last week our fights on FS1, I like to talk about our fights. It was a great night of fights, man, really. And in the main event, we had Peter Quillen versus Alfredo El Perro Angulo, the dog, and it was just a rock and sock fight. Fight of the year candidate.
No kidding.
Peter Quillen was the big overwhelming favorite, and underperformed. I shouldn't say that. You know what? I shouldn't say that. He fought his heart out. He did. Both guys did, but he wound up on the short end of a
He just
split
got beat.
decision. He got beat. Split decision. But Peter it was his fourth fight in 4 years. So I mean, you got to be active.
Yeah.
You got to be active, and I think it showed. I think in his conditioning.
What weight class was that?
Super middleweight,
Okay.
168.
Yeah.
So that was a great fight. Anybody watched it? There was the fight before that, a kid named Chris Colbert, Cole Conk, Miguel Beltran. I mean, face first. He
Really?
did a face plant, face first. That was a great fight. And then the fight before that, with a kid named Terrell Williams from L.A. against Thomas Delorme from Puerto Rico, which is another fight of the year candidate. I'm going to tell you, these guys were just rocking soccer,
Really?
man. It was a great night of action.
How
And
was the
that
crowd? I know
crowd
you
was
were-
great, man. Bakersfield, I didn't know what to expect. Great crowd, great fight fans, And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Pound for pound, fight for fight, we put out the best product out there. There's no dispute.
Every week, week in, week
Every
out.
weekend, weekend, twice a month. FS1, Fox, and then this month we're doing a pay-per-view event, which we're going to talk about with our next guest for this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And anyhow, so a great night of action, and for the fights, just watch Fox, PBC Boxing on Fox, or Fox Sports 1, and you're going to see the best fights. Go pound from there. You go, best fights in week out. Now, talking about that, going to our special guest here, gentleman I've worked with since December. He is one of the Chirag, you have to correct. I say producer, director.
Yeah, we're not
No,
sure.
I'm the
that-
producer of our broadcast.
You're a producer of
I'm
our
the producer.
broadcast. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. He's the producer of our broadcast, but not only of Fox. He's worked with Fox football, NFL football on
Was
Fox.
the NFL package a little bit?
And well, you could talk to him about that, Mike.
Okay.
And all of us, but interesting guy. Comes originally from at least St. Louis.
Not
and-
East St. Louis, just St. Louis.
Well, it could be.
I don't know. Well, let's ask him.
I don't
Sure.
know. No, if he says I'm from the west side, I'll say no, forget it. I was thinking,
I'm from the west of the Mississippi.
You're from which side of the Mississippi?
what about the Mississippi?
The west side of the
The west
Mississippi.
West side
so
of
the regular
Mississippi.
St. Louis.
Okay.
Is that East St. Louis then?
East St. Louis on the east side of the Mississippi.
I don't know, or is that West St. Louis?
The west
All
side's
right,
a little
hey,
bit more affluent.
Well, there you go. Anywho,
There you go.
ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you my a gentleman I've been working with. He is a professional extraordinaire. We're going to talk about his career. He's a son of an immigrant family. Grew up in St. Louis, but I didn't find out today that he went to school, high school, his last 2 years in Pittsburgh, and then headed out west to Los Angeles, where he resides
That's amazing.
with his family. So, without any further ado, my friend, my producing partner, producer. I say not my producing partner, but he's a producer, a partner of mine in crime, and my partner in crime because he directs me, produces me, he does everything with me to tell me how to look good, sound good on television. My good friend, Chirag Devaskar.
Hi,
You
Chirag.
There you go. Thanks for having me on. An honor to be on the Boom Boom Room.
Oh, my
Yeah.
pleasure.
Oh my gosh, it's great to have you.
And Chirag, I mean, so I want to. When we were talking the other day, you said, "Hey, anytime we were talking about, we had Chris on, and Chris was wonderful, and I said, and you said, anytime you'd be interested, I said, what, that's a great idea. I never thought about it because people don't know about the behind the scenes, from boxing to football, all the things, all the little things that you have to do as a producer for on these shows. And I thought, plus, you're a child of an immigrant family living the American dream. And I thought, what better guest?
No, this is gonna be a great story.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to give a little bit. Your background is your parents are from India. They're born in India. They immigrated to America. You were born and raised in St. Louis. And then your last 2 years of high school, you went to Pittsburgh.
That
Correct?
sound right?
Yeah, that's pretty much right. I was actually born in Los Angeles, but my family
Oh.
moved when I was 2 months old, and so I don't remember that obviously.
Oh, obviously.
But then
okay.
made my way back to California. But yeah, that's essentially right. My parents are immigrants who moved to the United States in their early 20s, in the early to mid 1970s, and they met in Detroit. Got married in Detroit, moved to Los Angeles, had me, and then started moving around to the Midwest, and now the whole family has made their way back out to California.
So they came separately and then met each other in Detroit?
Yes, that's correct.
Why did they come? Why did they want to come to America?
Well, chase the American dream, I suppose.
That was it, huh?
They both were aspiring physicians, and both felt that they had a better opportunity to reach those goals in the United States. More opportunity, better hospitals, better structure than there was in their towns in India in the early 1970s, and both with very little money came on their own, not without really any family here. Neither of them came with family; they came on their own, and on their own made a name for themselves in a small way, and then met each other and. Ultimately, and the funny thing is, they're doctors, and for most of their lives have worked at the same hospital, but they didn't meet each other at the hospital. They met each other outside of that, and just happened to both be in the same field, aspiring at the same time, and have both done very well.
And love was
And
in
now
the air.
we're at UCLA, and then doing great there.
That's
That's
it.
awesome.
And love
What's
was
that?
love was in the air. Love was in the air.
Absolutely, exactly.
But
Exactly.
Now, sure, that intrigues me because they're both doctors. You never thought of getting into the medical field? Or first of all, do you have any siblings? I never asked you that. Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother. I never thought of going into the medical field. I couldn't tell you why exactly. Why I never really wanted to, but I can say a couple of things. One, I was not a great science student. So if you're not good at science, you probably can't go into medicine.
Right.
Good move.
And also, and though I do pride myself on being a hard worker, I saw the life that my parents had to lead, getting called in the middle of the night to take care of sick kids.
I just gonna say,
and which
being
is
on call the
much
time.
more noble than what I do, but I don't know if I had it in me to do that.
It is, man. I mean, no, it's funny. Not to change subject, man. I ran into a friend of mine. I graduated with high school. Ran into his wife. I hadn't seen her a long time. We're talking. How's he doing? This good. He's looking to retire. Oh, great. God bless him. She was. Them being on call 24/7 takes its toll. And, he's a doctor.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm thinking, yeah, I guess it would.
Yeah.
24/7, you're on call.
Yeah.
That's why you make the big bucks.
Yeah, I mean the way it kind of worked was, and I could be wrong on this, but my recollection is that they would both kind of take turns being on call. So one of them would be for 2 weeks at a time. They'd be on call,
Yes.
and then because no one's on call the entire time, they
Right.
kind of would go through shifts between themselves and other physicians
Well, so
that
one
they
of
worked
them,
with. So that
so one of them can be home with you, though, right? That would be home. So
yeah,
one of them,
yeah, with
right.
us, and for the most part, there was always one of them home with us.
Yeah.
Our grandmother also lived with us to help my parents through all that, and she eventually moved over to the United States after I was born, and to kind of help take care of me and raise me. And my parents they worked tirelessly, and honestly, they still do. I mean, they're still going strong,
God
still
bless.
working in their
God bless him.
around 70 years old now.
Now, Chirag, your first language is Indian. Then you spoke it at home, growing up.
I didn't. The funny thing is, I didn't. I can't speak any Indian languages.
Are you?
I can only speak English, which is a hard to believe thing to a lot of people.
Are you
But,
kidding? Yeah, but
No, I'm serious. My parents are from two different parts of India, and so though they did speak some
Yep.
Hindi to each other, a lot of the language at home was English, and just because they were from different parts, and in India, every different part of the country has a different language.
part of the
And
language.
so-
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say because most immigrant families, the children speak it, like the Latino children or the Asian children. They all know it. You know what I mean? But usually when you're immigrant, that's the first language at home. I was surprised. But a lot of people see back at it. It reminds me back in the 30s and 40s when immigrants, or in 50s when they came from Italy and Western Europe. They wanted the kids to speak English to have a better opportunity in life in America. So they didn't speak to them in the native tongue. They didn't speak to them in Thai. They spoke to them in broken English.
Sure, and everyone in our schools from a young age was everyone spoke English at school.
Yeah.
So in terms of picking up a language, it was just easier, I guess, for us at that point to do it that way. My parents never really drove it home to us that we needed to learn any other languages.
Yeah.
And like I said, for the most part, they spoke a lot of the time to each other in English, just because
Yeah.
I guess they were just being from different parts of the country
Especially different
of
dialects.
India. Different dialects.
Yeah.
So English was always the primary language with all of us.
Oh, I see. Now you grew up. I know you grew up in St. Louis. You said, but you went to. You said your last 2 years of high school in Pittsburgh, right?
Yes. Junior and senior year of high
What
school.
brought your family to Pittsburgh? Obviously, work.
Yeah, I mean that's really good. It's work. My parents were doctors and were always always dedicated to that, and just saw a better opportunity for themselves and for our family to move to Pittsburgh at that point. And I mean that's really all it was. If my parents were ever going to move, they also needed to, and I'm sure it's the case in most families, they got to find work for both mom and dad. And Pittsburgh provided that opportunity, and it was at that time they felt the right move for them in their career, and they were able to find good schools for myself and my brother, and it was a time that kind of worked. I think if I was 1 year out of graduating, they may not have moved at that time, but I had 2 more years, and my brother hadn't started high school yet, so I think in their minds that was a good time, and for them they saw it as a good opportunity and a good time to move. But it was entirely because of work. There was no other reason.
Was that tough for you? Because I think I would have been pretty steamed if my parents moved to a completely different time zone when I was a junior.
Yeah, I won't lie and say that it was easy necessarily. We had some fights about it, but in hindsight, it certainly was, I think, the right decision. And I think I learned a lot just moving to a different place and getting to know another city, because St. Louis and Pittsburgh aren't all that similar.
No.
And so I think just learning different, I think just for me, just learning a different way of life. I mean, that's probably the wrong term, but just seeing how people in another city are was good for me at that age. So in hindsight, I think it was a great decision on their part.
Where did you wind up going to college?
I stayed in Pittsburgh. I went to the University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, great university.
Did you like sports growing up, or did you kind of just like TV growing up when you ended up doing the career choice?
I've loved sports for as long as I can remember.
Oh,
I
good.
don't remember a time where I didn't. I mean, I can remember, when I was I was 5 years old, and the 49ers played the Dolphins in Super Bowl 19.
Yeah.
And my family had planned a trip to India, and so I'd missed the game. But I had an aunt that lived in town, and she recorded it on an old VHS tape for me. And I'm telling you, we came back from India, and I probably watched that tape 100 times that summer.
First thing you
I mean,
did
I
when you
could tell
walked through the
everything
door?
that happened. Yeah, I could tell you everything that happened. I could tell you every play. I could tell you, hey, they're going to call a timeout here. I could tell you everything because I watched that so many times.
So you're
And that just, and at the same time, the baseball Cardinals in St. Louis were doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really easy to gravitate towards them. And just from that, I always just loved the competition of it. Hockey, football, baseball, basketball, boxing, tennis. I was watching all those. And
I was going to say,
we had.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, we had the Blues and the
Yeah.
baseball Cardinals. The football Cardinals were there for a little bit before they moved away as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we had the Blues and the Cardinals became just completely embedded in me, and I enjoyed watching all the sports. I loved football, still do. We didn't have an NBA team, but I still would watch. It was usually either Magic and the Lakers or Bird and the Celtics on CBS on the weekends. So I was watching that.
That's right.
And just got into all of it.
I mean, I was going to say, growing up, were you a Pittsburgh fan or, St. Louis fan? St. Louis, you come from there. It's got to be a St. Louis fan.
Yeah.
But when you go to the Berg,
sure.
it's hard not to get involved with the Steelers and the Pirates, that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still loyal to the St. Louis teams.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The Cardinals and the Blues especially. I mean, the Blues winning the Stanley Cup this year was a phenomenal.
I remember you
experience.
saying, yeah. I remember you were.
And the Pirates are big rivals, right? I mean, it's division.
Yeah, I mean, they were division rivals, and even the old NL East, they were division rivals, and the Pirates had Bonds and Bonilla and those guys.
Right.
And then they kind of fell on some hard times, but they've been division rivals all the way through in the NL Central also, and they had a run of a couple of good years where the two teams were kind of battling it out in the division recently when they had Andrew McCutchen and that group,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and they played in the playoffs actually in 2013. But I've always been loyal to the St. Louis teams.
Yeah. Now, cut to jumping ahead. You went to school. What did you go to college for? What was your look at what did you major in?
I majored in communications.
There
I
you
was
go.
never really sure. I was never really sure what I wanted to do. Though at the time, I thought I wanted to be a business major, and I changed my mind on that. But I think I always knew, even if at times I kind of fought it in my mind, I think I always knew I wanted to do something with sports. And I knew I wasn't good enough to play them. I knew I didn't have that skill, that level of talent. But I think when I was younger, at times I would kind of fight that because I think everyone thought, oh, he wants to do something in sports. And so I think just the stubborn streak in me made me think otherwise until I realized, no, they're all right. I should do something in sports. And that ultimately led to the TV side of it.
Well, was that hard with two parents that worked their tails off and that are doctors, and then here comes our young kid and he wants to go be in the sports thing, and they don't even know what you're talking about, right?
No, they still don't. And the funny thing is, my brother's a lawyer, so it's three people that do these like well-known, conventional lines of work, and here's me, I guess the black sheep of the family, going into the television business. But I'll say this: they never ever forced me to do anything. They always said, "Do what makes you happy. If you're gonna do a job, you're gonna do it every day of your life. So you want to be happy doing what you're doing."
Absolutely.
And so they never pushed me or forced me to do anything that I didn't want to do. They were big on getting a college education, and I was big on that as well. So that, we never conflicted on that. And, as long as I'm happy and I'm able to support myself and take care of myself and my family, they've never once questioned it. They certainly haven't understood it necessarily, but they've never questioned it. They sometimes wonder, how much can you just keep traveling all the time to work on different events? But I still enjoy doing it and love doing it. My body's, my body still doesn't have a problem with it. So I hope to keep doing it for a long time.
Now, I mean, and you're going to be. Believe me, you're one of the new stars on the way up in your field. But let me ask you, now what brought you out to LA? What made you go to LA? Would you say I'm going to go to LA? That's where the big market is. I started going to New York from Pitt.
That's a big jump.
Yeah. No, it's I'll say this. It's the simplest family. When I was in college at Pittsburgh, my brother went to college at Wesleyan in Connecticut, and my parents moved to Los Angeles. They had an opportunity to move to Los Angeles, and they took it. And out of college, you got no job, you got no money. Where are you going to go live? You're going to go sleep on mom and dad's couch or mom and dad's extra room. That's what I did. And I mean, that was really, there was never a time where I thought to myself, oh yes, I'm going to end up in Los Angeles. It was just, that's where I had to go. I had nowhere else to go at that point.
Your family.
Until I could find work.
Now, where did your mom and dad, when they moved to Los Angeles, where did they move in? What area did they move to?
They live in the Westwood area on the UCLA campus because they both work at UCLA.
You're beautiful.
So,
and that's where you grew up then. Well, not grew up. I'm sorry. When you stayed there, when you first.
When I first moved.
West was a great area. Great area.
But yeah, Westwood's great. Westwood's great. They still live there. I think they're going to live there for, probably the rest of their lives.
Right.
They love it. For them, it's really convenient for work. If they really need to or want to, they can walk. And if there's an emergency at the hospital, they can get in their car and be there in a minute or two. And Los Angeles being the traffic capital that it is, I think they're happy to be as close to work as they can be, so they don't have to sit through that.
Right, and it's
a great area. And they're both happy there and doing well there.
Westwood Village is spectacular and lovely area. All the different shops and restaurants. Lovely area.
Sure.
Very.
Well, how'd you get into Fox, though? I mean, usually an internship is through college or whatever, and now you're just out there. You've graduated, and what'd you do? Just walk in one day with your resume, or how did it work?
So, my internship started when I was still in college.
Okay.
My parents had already moved out here. I believe one of my parents somehow knew somebody that was like an executive assistant or something like that. And through that person, I sent in a resume and got college credit through a PIT for it, and did an internship in the fall of 2002 with the old Fox Sports Net doing, they're producing highlight packages for their late night highlight shows that they had both out of LA on a national level, but also they would produce them for a lot of those regionals, like the Fox Sports Midwest and the Fox Sports Ohio's and things like that. And so I was there and really enjoyed doing that. I was there for about 4 or 5 months, then went back and finished school. And then when I came back, I kind of wanted to get back into Fox. I was in LA at that point and knew that this was kind of the direction I wanted to go in, and wasn't really sure how to get back in there. I mean, I would always kind of at the time email people that I had worked with before, and there was just never any openings. And then my father knew somebody who knew someone again, and they got me hired to work in the videotape library at Fox, at Fox Sports. So there's this giant vault with, this big back room with all these old tapes. I mean, now everything is all digital. But back then, all these huge tapes going back to 1994 when Fox started. And all, people would come down and say, hey, we need this footage because we're doing this feature on whoever in whatever sport. And at the time at Fox, it was, pretty much just baseball, football, and NASCAR. And people would come down and say, hey, we need this. And I just did my best to work hard and get noticed. And I would eventually be able to, hopefully move up and become work in the production side. And so I was there for about 14 months. And as I heard about, both just word of mouth, but also people that kind of knew me and saw how hard I tried to work while I worked in the vault, telling me, hey, we're going to have a production assistant spot open. You should apply for it. And I did, and I did a couple times, and eventually got hired, and was off and rolling.
So you started out as a PA. I did not know that.
Yeah, I was a PA working. It was in 2005, and I was working on NASCAR. It's the NASCAR pre-race show. I wasn't the pre-race show at the time was a full traveling show, but there was a lot of us that worked in Los Angeles, cutting highlight videos and things like that. And I was a PA on that at first. And, I had never watched a race in my life. I didn't know a thing about NASCAR. And, I remember the first race I ever had to watch was the 2005 Coca-Cola 600. And I just started, and I've never watched the sport. And I'm kind of in Los Angeles just in case they need anything on site. They can call us, and we can try to get it to them. I have no idea what I'm doing. And this race is the longest race in NASCAR, 600 miles.
Yeah.
And and I don't know if this record has been broken or not, but at the time, it set the record for the most caution flags in a race. And I'm thinking to myself, what have I gotten myself into?
That's like a 5-hour day.
Anything about this sport. I came in thinking, all right, baseball and football, and here I am doing NASCAR. And I had no idea what I was doing at all from just knowing the sport, but I threw myself into it and learned everything I could about it. And it took me some time, but once I understood the sport, I was able to kind of learn who the crew chiefs were and who the sponsors were, and learn everyone's number. And I learned the sport as much as I could, and I think I did a pretty good job working on that. And from there, I was asked to be a broadcast associate doing graphics on one of our NFL crews that fall. And so I've been traveling for the NFL almost every year since 2005 now. I did college football one year when FS1 first launched, but every other year I've been doing the NFL, and I started that year doing graphics.
As I said, when you go, so you go on site and you do graphics, or you do it from the studio?
At the time, I was on site doing graphics, so I'd be in the truck.
Oh man, yeah.
Doing the live graphics. And
right.
My first game was in Detroit. It was the Packers against the Lions.
Wow.
Thanksgiving?
No, it was week 1 of the 2005 season.
Oh wow, good for you.
And we went the entire year. And Kenny Albert was the play-by-play guy, and now working with him a little bit on boxing, which is great. And so Kenny, I go back to my first live event at Fox with Kenny.
Wow.
Did you have to learn boxing too?
No, so boxing I always liked as a kid.
Okay.
Always would watch it on Saturdays on Wild World of Sports and Friday night fights and things like that. And just as I got older, a couple things happened. One was every big fight at least seemed to be on pay-per-view, and I didn't have the money to get fights and watch them and pay for them and things like that.
Even if you
and
did,
even
if you did, there weren't that many good ones to buy. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And then the other side of it was just doing what I do. I was gone so many weekends, especially in the fall, that there was no way I would have even have had time to watch them because I'm just so busy on a football Saturday. And so I kind of kept an eye on what was going on, and I knew who was good, and I knew the Klitschko brothers were dominating the heavyweight division, and I knew Roy Jones Jr. was the pound-for-pound champ in buys of most and things like that. But I wasn't watching a lot of it. And then when Al Heyman and PBC first approached Fox about doing the original deal that they did with them in 2015, Brad Zager, who's one of the top guys at Fox at the time, had just kind of FS1 had just started about a year and a half earlier, and he asked, "Do you want to be a part of it?" And I wasn't sure if I could pull it off with everything else I was doing, but after a while, I decided let's give it a shot and let's do it. And wasn't producing them yet. I was just working, in the behind-the-scenes crew, and over time, the opportunity came to produce them, and I started producing them when Fox really, the fights were on Fox, but they weren't really, Fox wasn't really that involved with them. And then when Fox got the rights this past year to actually do it, I guess the Fox way, and to kind of really take over the production, they asked me if I still wanted to be a part of it, and of course I did. So I guess that's a long way of saying a long way of answering, but I kind of was always into boxing, but kind of had to get myself into it again just because I'd been out of it for a little while.
So can you explain what a producer does? I'm sure there are people out there that don't really get what a producer you're not producing a show. I mean, you are, but it's also a live broadcast too, where you got to fly by the seat of your pants sometimes.
And a producer of a film is different than
a producer of the film is dictating what's in the film.
Well,
here's something you can't really dictate,
you,
right?
You raise the money.
Yeah. So we know the fights. We know who where we're going to be, and we know kind of the storylines behind these guys, and we try to. So my job, I guess, in that sense, is to kind of put together the overall of what we want to do. So, we have some filler segments between fights to talk about different things, and what kind of video do we want for that? What kind of editorial do we want for that? And some of it is bigger picture stuff that I talk to, my bosses at Fox. For example, this coming weekend we have our big pay-per-view.
Right.
And so this past weekend, one of the things we certainly want to do is to drive viewers towards that and tell them why they should tune in, why they should buy it and watch, and why it's a big fight. And so we spent some time on that. And then, we, like Ray mentioned earlier, the Peter Quillen fight is in the super middleweight division, and there's a big fight in the super middleweight as a part of the pay-per-view card. And so we did, I said, let's do a feature on the super middleweight, and let's talk about that. And so, I kind of guide that part of it in terms of the preparation. And then we have a great team that puts everything together. And I'll give them their credit. Matt Saldana, Gilbert Zapata, Jason Hurd, Sabrina Lacani, Justin Goodman behind the scenes with ideas and research and facts and graphics and video packages. They all put it together. And, I kind of map out where it's going to run and how it's going to run. And you're right, things change. I mean, once you get into a fight, the fight happens. You react to what's happening in the fight. You might have some ideas that you want to do in between rounds, but then it's, Chris Colbert wins in a first-round knockout. You don't get to that stuff. But, that's the way it goes, and you adjust and you figure out how to move forward from that. But in terms of the setup, that's sort of what I do. And then, we'll do like a big meeting, and I kind of oversee that with our whole group, get ideas, tell them how we're going to approach the broadcast. And then during the broadcast, I'll be in the announcers' ears, Ray, and, in the past, Chris Myers or Kenny Albert. And last weekend was Ray Flores. We had Dominic Brazil with us as well. And I'll get in their ears and say, hey, remember this point we talked about. Don't forget about that. Or, it can be a long night because we cover a lot of fights. Ray will tell you, I'll get in his ear a lot. Keep it up. Pick that energy up, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to keep him going and just say, hey, when we come back from commercial, we're going to do this. Or here's the highlights of that fight. Let me show them to you. Tell me what you think. And one thing I always tell them is, look, you guys know the boxing better than I will. And, Boom Boom's a Hall of Famer. He knows boxing way better than I ever will. But I think I can help him with the TV side of it. And I'll tell him, look, if this isn't if you don't think this is relevant to what's important in this fight, tell me and we won't do it. And so I think it's just kind of, bringing everyone together. And I guess my other real thing while we're on the air is I'll call the replays. But other than that, I try to let our announcers drive our broadcast and go in the direction they want to go in.
I'm gonna tell you, Mike, Chirag does a wonderful job of that, and I'm not because he's our guest today, but because he's our guest today. But let me just say, we have a production.
When I hang up, you're gonna say, "What a terrible producer."
He sucked.
When we have a production meeting. What I was impressed with Chirag, first time I met him, he called me on the phone, very professional. Before I met him, he said, Ray, we're going to be working this weekend. First show, he said, he introduced himself and things he expected from me and what to expect from him. And but when he's in the meeting, one thing, I'm very professional, and he tells people, look, very matter of fact, he says, but, it's very thorough, like, make sure our next fight, make sure you make your flights early. Get there early. We need you to be there. Be prepared. Know your stuff. Be focused and things like that. And that's what you wanted from a director. From a producer. You should have your stuff. You should be prepared. You should have that in order. But he expects that so this thing runs smooth. And it's been a wonderful experience for me. And it's a great team. Everyone gets along. But that starts from the top down, obviously. And Chirag does a wonderful job of managing everybody and including everybody as far as the production and his team. And it's been a great experience in my life this past year.
I think from just doing local TV for 30 years, and I've said this before, and I'll tell you guys, producers are a dime a dozen, but a good producer is worth its weight in gold. Someone that talks calmly in your ear and doesn't yell.
That's right.
Someone that prepares you for what's going to happen. Someone that is prepared all the time. Because and Lauren is looking at me too, we've worked with some awful producers that are crazy in your ear and yelling and screaming and they're awful.
And which is why they're local and not national.
Maybe not. I'm sure there are people like that in
There's
national
a reason why you ain't climbing the ladder.
But there are some that are calm, that are prepared, that have their eggs in a row and remind you of things and let you do what you're paid to do. And that's what's nice.
Well, we've talked about that. Chirag, you tell me if I'm wrong. We've talked about it. The one thing I learned about success or a key success is let those who do. I don't do what you do. You don't do what I do. Just let those who do do.
And you've never done what I do, and I'll never do what you do.
No.
Right.
So I think that's the key to success for a lot of productions, especially on a production like this, which Fox is a major player. It's a major studio, and you better have your stuff. You better have your shite right.
Yeah.
Or are you going to get that? You get that boot.
I think it's, but Ray's giving me more credit than he should. But it's like I said, it's a team effort. We have a great director, Derek Manning, and like I mentioned, all the behind the scenes people. And I think collectively we all work really well.
Yeah.
And, aside from the boxing on air people that we have, most of the rest of us have worked together on something or another at Fox over the years. And I'll also say with Chris Myers, I work with Chris every week on the NFL. And I've known him since almost the beginning. And so just kind of the fact that we all kind of know each other and like each other and know how to work with each other, I think made it as seamless as it could be coming into a new venture on Fox with boxing. Just that familiarity, I think, really helps us and helped us get off to a good start right off the bat. I don't think we had any growing pains when we started on FS1, and our first one on FS1 was in January. I don't think we had any. Look, you always think you can do better every time, no matter what. But I think we started off really strong, and I think a big part of that is just the familiarity that everyone in the truck had with each other. And I give Fox a lot of credit for sticking with Fox people for the most part.
Any
people that know how to work together and how to do things.
Any crazy things that have happened, or anything that almost went sideways, and you guys had to pick it up or pull it back in any sport that you've done?
I'm sure there have been.
You can't remember any, especially at the network level. This would be really fun to hear about.
I mean, I think we've been pretty solid. Like I've never been, and I know people that have been, but I've never been a part of like a power failure in the truck or anything like that. I can only imagine what the group at CBS had to deal with when there was the blackout at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A few years ago in New Orleans.
Poor
I can only
Steve
imagine
Tasker.
what that was like to go through.
Steve Tasker's still in the hospital, I think, from having to announce that. Poor guy.
And right, and a few years ago at the World Series in Kansas City, there was a big power malfunction in the truck, and I believe Fox took the international feed for a couple of innings because of that. And I've never been in a position where I've had to deal with anything like that, fortunately, and hopefully that'll continue. I'm sure at some point it'll hit me, just like I'm sure it does everybody else. But I've never really had a situation like that I've had to navigate around. Fortunately, everything I've had to navigate around has just been whatever's been happening in the event we're covering, and that's just the beauty of sports. You never know what's going to happen next, and sometimes doing boxing, you're ready for the fact that you're prepared for it to be a 12-round fight, but it could end in 30. It doesn't always go the way you think it's going to.
It's Chirag. It's funny you said that.
So being prepared.
I've said that. I said, the fact that HBO's out of it, which is a very good thing for us. I don't know if Fox would have gone into it if HBO was still in it. I don't know if they would have, but I got to know Peter Nelson. I don't know him well. I just met him a few times. Hi, how are you? But I know he was a boxing guy. But when he took over at HBO, and they said they were getting out of it, I get that. But his reasoning he gave for getting out of it made absolutely no sense. And I don't know if you remember his reasoning. He was big and he wanted to do original programming. Okay, comedies and stuff. I get that. Great, Ballers and Insecure and all them new shows that were successful. But his reasoning for getting out of boxing, he said was because it wasn't original enough. And I said, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because if the fight never happened, what's more original than that?
Right.
It ain't happened.
Right.
It's an event that hasn't happened. It's nothing more original than that.
And there's no bigger reality TV than
my God.
professional sports, really.
That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard when I said there's reasoning for it. Boxing wasn't original enough. Now, if he meant in the sense that, boxing's been done for many years, well, yeah, okay, so has everything else. So every other show he puts on, from comedy or dramatic show, series on HBO or network or whatever, it's all been done. We know that.
Sure.
There aren't any more original ideas.
No original ideas
in television.
Oh
I
my
don't
God!
think.
So anyway, that's what I thought. But but I'm saying it worked out for us.
Do you think
because Fox is in it for the long haul, and we're doing a hell of a job. And I think our ratings have been tremendous.
Not to get you in trouble, Chirag, and I hope you aren't. But is this just another chapter in your life? Are you continuing to? Do you aspire to do something else, or do you think you're just going to stick with this? Or is there a sport or an event you really, really want to do that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
Well, in terms of my career, this is what I love doing. I love doing sports television. I don't see myself doing anything else.
Always producing, though?
I won't predict what. Well, yeah, I think so. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not. I don't think I'm suited for an office job. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but at least at this point in my life, I don't think I'm suited for that. So, for me, that doing what I'm doing is what I want to be doing. Like I said, I have no idea what I'm going to think in 10 years, but at the moment, I don't see myself going into a different line of work or anything like that.
Is there an event you always wanted to do? Or is there an event that they do wrong that you could do better?
You've already been a part of Super Bowl. You already been part of a Super Bowl, right?
No, I've been a part of a Super Bowl. I would love to at some point be a part of an Olympics if Fox ever got the Olympics. I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a part of our World Cup coverage at some point. I haven't had that opportunity yet. Those would probably be the two, just because I'd like to see
World Cup.
other parts of the world. I think it's more other parts of the world than it is the event itself.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
to have that opportunity would be wonderful. In terms of the big events, I've been a part of most of the stuff that Fox has had in some way, and Fox has always been a big events network. So I haven't been a part of like a Final Four, but I do a lot of college basketball. So maybe I don't feel the same pull towards it as I do some of the other stuff that Fox really has not had a real stake in.
How long is the Super Bowl pregame show now? 14 hours? 10 hours? How long? When do you guys kick it off?
I'm sure it'll be a big one this year.
Yeah.
Fox has it this year, and we're already obviously gearing up, and plans are already in the works.
Really?
Some stuff's probably already done for all I know.
Well, do we know who the entertainment's going to be yet, or you can't announce that yet?
I have not heard.
Like the
I will tell you
halftime
that much. I don't. If it's out there, even if it's been announced, I haven't heard it. So I don't know who it is.
Huh.
But look, this is not just me sucking up to my company. I've been at Fox for a long time, and I believe in the way we do things and how we do things, and I know that it's going to be a great. However long the pregame show is, I know it's going to be a great pregame show, and I know that the game production is top notch. I mean, I'll stand behind our guys at Fox when it comes to game production.
I think just as a viewer and an announcer, I think that people have different announcers they like. Like, hey, I like listening to Jim Nantz do the Masters or whatever. But if you just look at the graphics and the ingenuity of the networks, Fox is the leader, has always been the leader since their NASCAR coverage started, took that event and changed it into something that the normal person could watch that isn't from the state of North Carolina. I mean, people that don't really, you guys take events and make your graphics packages are so interesting and so much better than anybody else, I think.
I think that's what we're trying to bring to boxing now. Now that we've started it, and whether it's a smaller event on FS1 or a bigger one on Fox or a major one like this weekend on our pay-per-views, I think we're trying to bring some of that creativeness and some of that risk-taking, just trying new things and seeing how they work, and trying to make it more than just the 12 rounds in the ring. That people excited about these fighters, not just put them up there and say, here you go, watch, but say, this is why you should like these guys, and this is what we're going to do to try to help you guys at home understand what's going on and who they are, and I think that's one of our great strengths as a network on every sport we do. And I'm happy to be a part of that on the boxing side, and I know we will continue doing that on everything else we do.
Yeah, I just tell you, I mean, I'm so happy to be part of it, and we do, and I'm telling you, our team does it top notch. Not because I'm part of it.
You're
but
part
I mean,
of the team.
Our production team does it top notch. Does, and it's been wonderful to work with, being with Fox for me. I told you, Chirag, I've told this before. I said, about February, I was doing one of the morning shows, and Krista says to me, Ray, Billy would like to talk to you, Bill Richards. I go, oh. Kira, what did I say? Krista? Kira. Kira said to me.
Okay.
She's up. Krista, where did I get Krista?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
She's on a morning show
terrible.
here.
That was a K. It was a K. So Kira says to me, Ray, Billy would like to talk to you. And I went down to his office. Now, this is February, right? Uh-huh. And only been a couple of months, and Bill Richards also does the NFL. And Bill Richards says to us, he says, Ray, are you I think I told this story before, Mike. He says, Ray, are you happy? And I said, yeah, Bill, I'm very happy. I said, are you happy? He said, yeah, I'm happy. I said, well, then I'm happy that you're happy. And then
was the conversation.
And we start laughing. And he said, well, I just want to make sure you got everything you need and you're taken care of. I said, Bill, couldn't be any better. And I said, that's how a company takes care of its people. Nice? That's how a company, they want to make sure that people are taken care of, that they're happy. I mean, I said, wow. Because I've worked for other companies, and they don't give a rat's ass.
No, they don't.
They don't care.
Do we still have Chirag? Because I don't hear him anymore.
Chirag's there.
No, I'm here.
You can't hear him?
I can't hear him.
This happens a lot. This happens at our dinners a lot. This happens a lot during our group dinners. Ray starts telling stories, and I just want to listen because they're so... He's got a million of them.
If Chirag, for whatever reason, Mike lost you, but I'm on. But
no, I hear you.
Yeah, well, he's talking about you, Mike. Yeah, because he said, is he talking about me? I said, yeah, he's talking about you. Could you hear him now?
Nope.
No, like I said, well, I don't know if you hear me or not, Mike, but I'm just listening to Ray. That's what we do on our dinners on Friday nights before our fight.
What did he say? He make fun of me?
He said, He said, I don't know if you're listening, Mike, which he wasn't because he can't hear. He says,
Oh, no,
I'm
I
just sitting there listening to Ray because that's what we do on our dinners.
Yeah, have
and
you
at
had to rein him
corporation."
in, Chirag? Have you had to rein him in
Ray's
yet?
got the best stories. I mean, Ray's got one for every. You name a situation, Ray's got a story. There.
Oh yeah, multiple stories.
Hey,
He's in his mind. He's picking which story he wants to tell.
It's all about
Right,
the,
exactly.
It's all about the stories, man. It's all about the stories.
Is he
got
the
it.
biggest pain in the ass in the people
can
on
be.
air,
I
or is
could
there a
be.
bigger
Oh,
pain
no
in the
question.
ass?
No question about it.
I could be, but
No, Ray's great.
But at times there are bigger ones. Yes.
Yeah, name a bigger one.
No,
Chirag, you can.
No, you know what?
Sure,
I'll be honest.
Ray
we have
Flores is
very
a bigger
easy
pain in
group
the
to
ass to
work
me.
with.
Ray-
We have a
Ray-
very easy group to work with.
Hey, thank
There's
you.
no one that drives me crazy. There's no one that puts me in a bad position or makes it difficult on me. We have a very
good crew.
very good group that works very well together and wants everyone to succeed and understands that we all succeed collectively.
That's right.
And
That's right.
that's why I think
but-
everyone pulls in the same direction and doesn't try to make it difficult on me or on anyone else.
But Chirag, being the producer, if that ship goes down, we succeed collectively, but we fail solo. If we fail,
that how TV
that
works?
Producer, that's the job of being a producer. No, that's no kid.
He
He'll
gets
tell
the
you.
blame?
That's, the producer takes
He's the
blame.
head coach.
If it's a production, if it's film production, producers take the hit. If it's a winner, everyone gets everyone's a part of it.
Oh.
If we lose, it's the producers that
Wow.
say. So
No
that's part
sweat
of
for
the deal
you
being
then,
a
huh?
producer. That's part of the deal.
I'm hearing right now that if something goes wrong, Ray's going to tell me right down the river.
No, and he doesn't
Hear that.
mind.
No, I said, hey, I said, look, hey, you trusted Chirag, you messed up, hey.
Yep. Now that he can pronounce your name, Chirag, he can say it on national television if things go wrong.
Right, exactly.
No, Mike was asking who's a pain in the ass. Ray Flores is a pain in the ass.
Is he a pain in the
I
ass?
love the guy. He's terrific with this, but he's a pain in the ass.
Why is that?
Nah, I just
Yeah.
I had to throw out a name.
That's fine.
Come on, there's no one that's a pain. There's no one that's a pain. They're all-
Marcus
we have,
Vega.
I mean, I wish I could give you some juicy stories about
No, we're
guys
we're
you
very
know,
blessed.
asking for ridiculous things, but
Yeah.
we don't have that.
No, we're
we
very
don't.
blessed.
I mean, we honestly don't.
We're very vanilla.
Even
I
Kenny,
know that's not
even
great
Kenny
for, That's
Albert.
not great for podcast content, but unfortunately, we got nothing crazy.
It's the truth.
It is the truth.
The truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Hey, Chirag, if you ever need a studio host, like if these guys all bag one weekend and you're going to some podunk town in Idaho or something, I'll go. And I don't even have to go first class like
Mike,
Ray does. I'll go. And I'll tell you right now, I'm a fantastic studio host. Fantastic.
Chirag, I'm jaded. I can't fly coach.
Yeah,
no.
I can't fly coach again. I'm telling you. But I'll tell you what.
It's tough. It's tough. Once you've been
What
up
do you-
there, you
wait.
don't ever want to go back.
What do you fly, Chirag? First class or coach?
I'm a coach flyer.
You are not.
No,
I am.
Are you really?
Our
Sure.
production.
Yeah.
Our producer. I'm
That
telling you.
sucks,
It
Chirag.
does. They work the hardest.
It's fine.
They get treated like.
That doesn't matter to me.
You know what
as
matter,
long as-
Chirag. You know what? It never mattered to me either until now. It does.
It doesn't-
because once
it
it
doesn't
was
seem
never
right.
mattered to me. Like I said, it never mattered to me until it did. And now I realize I can't go, can't do it, can't do it, Sally. Can't
This
go
guy,
back, can't
like
go back.
Ray,
to coach.
literally cannot touch the feet
I
of the
can't go back to
seat in
coach.
front
I
of him.
can't
His
go
legs
back
are
to
too
coach.
short.
Please
Yet,
don't.
yet
please
you're
don't-
in coach and
please,
he's not.
Please don't send me back to coach.
Well,
Don't do it.
you're talking about Ray and his height. I don't know if you saw how much you saw on Saturday, but we had Dominic Brazil as our
What,
other
you
analyst. and it was
stand
an
next to
interesting
him?
Shot. Seeing Dominic, who's 6'7", and then Ray, who's what 5'3".
That's not- it's not right.
5'4", 5'5", 5'5",
5'4".
5'6".
What's your license say?
My 5 license says 5'6".
6?
5'4". I don't know. I say 5'6". Then they put. Well, we're looking at you.
When
Mr.
those- seriously, when
I
they
put
stand next
5'6",
to each
then they
other-
go, Mr. Mancini, we're looking at you. No, 5'4". And no, Dominic. I think of my Apple box at first to stand on. They look kind of silly.
I've had that before. I've had to
I don't-
do like
I
play-by-play
don't-
with
I'm
an
not
NBA
proud.
guy,
I'm
and I've
not
had to
proud.
stand on a box.
When I did my Chirag, my first movie, not my first movie, my first kissing scene.
Oh, here
in
we
a
go.
movie
Here we
was
go.
with Jennifer Bills.
Big moment for you.
Jennifer
Yes, it
Beals.
was. Jennifer Bills.
How tall is she?
Jennifer 6'9". I mean 5'6".
No.
5'9".
6'9",
It's just
wow.
She's
yeah,
5'9".
that's tall, right?
And she's wearing
No,
heels,
she's
probably.
5'9", and she was wearing heels. So they had to give me an Apple box. I said, "Hey, proud. Hey, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise, Al Pacino. Hey, they all do it."
How many kissing scenes have you done?
That's actually the only. Well, I've done a couple now. That was the first one. And here's the funny thing. They said, well, they try to choreograph it. So it's all choreographed,
Sure.
of course. Well, Ray, first Ray, you're gonna get on this side, and then we're gonna have the camera over here, and your face is gonna go back. turn your face towards the camera. Now we're gonna go, and then Ray, you're gonna roll on the other side. We're gonna go around with the all this, right? So we're trying to choreograph this, and I'm like, I never did this before, and I'm like hesitant what to do. Finally, Jennifer says, she lays down. She goes, "Come on, just jump on." I said,
Wait, it was a lay
just
down
come on,
one?
let's go, jump on, let's get it going.
Wow.
And I laughed. I said, "That's a trooper. She was a great lady.
How
Great
about
lady.
that?
Great lady."
How many takes?
It's a big moment.
Oh man, I wanted to take as many takes they need to. Nah,
You're intentionally screwing
Nah,
it up.
yeah.
Let's do that again, guys.
And, what I was getting
Didn't
to
feel
was,
right.
what I was getting to is I was on Apple boxes for her. I'm not proud. I
I
don't
would too.
care. Okay. Anyhow.
How many kissing scenes have you had, Chirag?
Hey, Shrug, how many kisses you have to do?
Oh boy, no one wants to put me on camera for a kissing scene. I promise you that.
Shrug, now Shrug. Now you're married. You have a son, right?
I have a daughter.
Daughter. I'm sorry.
What's her
a
name?
5-year-old daughter.
5-year-old daughter.
Mara.
You've been married for obviously 5 years. So
For 8 years.
8 years.
Oh,
God
good
bless
for
you.
you.
Beautiful. And you met your wife in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, now, may I ask, because I never met her, is she production too? Is she got anything to do with television?
She is not at all.
She has to
That's a
stay
good
home
start.
because you're
She
never
was
around.
a PhD. She was a college professor
Beautiful.
for a while. And,
Hey, Chirag,
and
you know
now,
what I always said that's the smart. You know why I consider myself smart? Because I married somebody that was smarter than me.
that's the key to life.
You ain't
That's the
kidding.
key to life,
You
bro.
ain't
Do you?
kidding, bro.
How many weeks a year do you travel, and does she give you any crap?
She's used to it. I have
That's nice.
how many weeks? I mean, I'm probably somewhere 35 weeks out of the year for at least a couple days. Would be my estimate. I mean,
That
the
sounds-
entire football season, and then handful of boxing throughout. About one a month for boxing, and then a little bit of baseball, a little bit of basketball. Now, I would guess about 35 weeks of the year. I'm gone for at least a little piece of it.
That's not as bad as I thought you were going to say.
Oh man, a lot of these guys are on 50 weeks of the month.
Seems like it, yeah.
Our announcers, our Chris, the football every week. They know boxing, so now he's on the road with us quite a
And
bit too.
he does a little bit of baseball
Did a little bit of baseball, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And Chris does a lot of studio stuff in LA also, which I
Yeah.
think helps balance that for him.
Right.
But I mean, I know he loves doing the NFL. I know he's really enjoyed doing the boxing this year for the
Yeah.
first time.
He's funny. He is funny.
We
Anyhow.
know you got to go. Do you want to take a question
I know
from
I know you
the?
could, but I appreciate. See,
Do you want to take a question from the box?
Yeah, give one
Chirag?
question before we
This is
gotta
a
go.
random question.
I'll brace myself.
All right,
I'll brace
and then
myself.
and
We'll
you
see if I'll
can.
answer
It may not be. It may just be a topic. I don't know.
There's
I
some
haven't seen
people,
these.
ladies and gentlemen, can't see this. Mike's got a box. He's got his. He's
Oh,
got.
this
He's
is
got
good.
his junk in a box,
Uh-huh.
and he got his junk in a box.
In my trunk?
And he's got a question. So go ahead. Or a question.
I just thought of
give it a
Justin
shot. Or a
Timberlake
statement.
doing that thing. All right, where is your happy place?
My happy place.
Yeah, where do you go to decompress?
Decompress. What I like really doing. I just like taking walks. So I'll take the dog out for a walk, and that's the best way for me to decompress. Honestly,
Beautiful.
pretty good.
That's one of the reasons why I like living where I live. The weather is almost always nice.
Are you in
And I
the?
can take a walk anytime I want.
I asked you this before, Chirag. You in the Valley or down South Bay? You told me.
I'm in the South Bay.
Yeah, I
I'm in the
thought-
South Bay.
Yeah, you told me that before. Redondo, right?
Yeah.
Redondo?
Hermosa.
Hermosa.
Beach.
Yeah, same thing.
With
Come
all
on.
the other producer types, right?
Well,
Where they all
when you're
live?
making a big,
I don't
when you're
know.
making a
the
big
thing-
bucks.
I think that one of the things about this job that a lot of people like is they can kind of live all over the place.
Yeah, you can.
And,
A lot of them.
like our other boxing producer, Tom McNeely, he lives out in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
You don't have to necessarily live in Los Angeles. I mean, all of our football producers live all over the map.
Chris is out in the
So
Valley.
I couldn't even tell you that. I don't even. I know there's a couple of our other producers at Fox that live down here, but they live everywhere,
No.
all over the country.
And Mike, when you're living in Redondo, Hermosa, you go pretty much live where you want. It's the
Oh, you
beach
can.
town. It's the beach town.
Oh,
You go.
so
but
nice.
You go down before Hermosa, Hermosa, and then Redondo, and before Hermosa, Manhattan Beach, right, beach. That's the South Bay. One is
I
beautiful.
gotta get
just
me
as
some of
beautiful as
that.
the other. So
I
yeah,
need some of that in my life.
He can live where he wants to live. He just chooses to live
nice.
down there.
Well,
So, Chirag, can't thank you enough, my brother, for your time. And I was intrigued. I wanted to find out about you because even though we work together now very much, I really didn't know a lot of your personal things, and that intrigues me. And but I really do enjoy working with you. And I thought, I'd have somebody behind the scenes stuff, all the stuff it takes. But you got to. I guess the key word is just be prepared. Everyone,
Be prepared.
whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera, you got to be prepared. Preparation is everything.
Good job.
That's the key to it.
Good job, Chirag.
That's the key to it. Well,
Hey,
thanks for having me on. I really
if
appreciate
you,
it.
I
And,
appreciate you. Thank
If you
and
come
I
to
appreciate-
Cleveland for that Seahawks game, let us know, okay?
sure.
That would
We'll
be cool.
do. And
well,
like I
this,
said, we got a big one this weekend. I know Ray's coming out to LA for it. But
Yeah,
a big boxing pay-per-view this weekend.
Oh, sell it real
pay-per-view.
quick. How much is it? How do we get it?
yeah, Fox
How much is
pay-per-view.
it? I don't even know. I don't know the cost of it. But
$74.99.
I'm sure you can get it on your cable provider.
$74.95.
Oh, that seems high.
$74.95. There you
But
go.
that's
Spence
what it is now.
Porter, it's a big
But-
one. Benavidez Durrell before that. That's
Right.
another big one.
There's four. And the
Great,
one that's,
great card.
Hey, the one that starts it off, John Molina and Jose Cito Lopez. They don't
Yeah.
got backwards in their vocabulary. It's not in their vocabulary. Backwards
Go
ain't in the
forwards.
dictionary for them. They come two guys. That might be a fight of the year candidate right there.
How
On
about
paper, it is. That's a fight of the year right there on paper. We'll see how it
Hey,
plays out.
good luck this week. I know you got your hands full.
Pay-per-view, yes. This weekend, pay-per-view, Fox pay-per-view, Saturday night, starting at 6. But our pre-show starts at what? 4:30, Chirag? 4:30 with FS1
Sounds right.
on FS1. On FS1.
And
Busy
you're,
busy weekend. It's going to be good.
are you working it? You're working the
I'm not
pay-per-view,
even-
right?
No, I'm not even a part of it. I'm doing football this weekend, so I'm not even a part of it.
Oh, what game do you have?
I'm in LA. I'm doing the Rams against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, good.
on
And
Sunday.
I'm going to because I'm staying overnight.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
go out there and sit and hang out a little bit for the and coming back on take a red eye at
Well,
that.
pop in the truck and see some
Well, maybe I'll get lucky and get on camera. Who knows? And
never know.
You never know. You never know how this stuff goes.
Never know.
They want us to cross coordinate.
Oh, cross-promote. Yeah, I
promotion.
see.
What
It's
are
a
we
hybrid.
promoting? Ray's here. Who cares? He ain't promote nothing. Get him off.
Gotta
Anyhow,
promote it.
no. Chirag, thank you so much, man. I really enjoyed it. Enjoy you. Enjoy working with you. And I'll see you at the next one. I'll see you Sunday. I'll see you this weekend. And I'll see you Sunday.
Sounds good.
All right.
Really enjoyed it. Thanks for
Thank
having me
you.
on.
Thank you. My
Take
pleasure.
care.
My pleasure. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Oh, what a nice kid.
What a great guy,
Yeah,
man.
kid.
Great
He's
guy.
40 years
Well,
old,
40
for
years old.
heaven's
He's a baby.
Kid does. You want to
let me-
answer some questions?
Yes, let's answer questions. And let me just say that he said, well, we said, could you give us an hour? That was
I
an
know.
hour.
Oh, it just
I meant
flies
it,
by.
But they don't want to, understand because it was so much fun. Because we're
Flies
so
by.
much fun. When you're having fun and because we're so much fun. And when you're having fun like we are,
Yeah.
then you want to engage. You just want to can't get enough of us.
All right. Right out of the fun box. Here we go.
Too much fun, more fun. We're having more fun now.
I'm going to save the rest of these for another show.
All right, after the rest,
You ready?
yes.
What makes you feel old?
You know what makes me feel old? People telling me that you're old. That's what makes me feel. No, I am what I am. I always said, even when I was younger, I said I look forward to I look forward to getting older. I'd be a cool old man, and I joke, but I mean, I don't bother me. It's part of the deal. I think the keys
Not that
to
it bothers you, but
No.
is there something
It's-
like I'll make an old reference and people will look at me because they're too young to know
right,
what the
right.
hell I'm
That-
talking
yeah,
about.
Of
You
course,
know what I mean?
Of course.
Like you don't want to make a Three's Company reference in front of the
yeah, they go
23-year-olds.
Right.
They won't get it.
But no, I just think getting up in the morning when your body takes a little extra to get moving, aches and pains, because now I'm broken down. I got bone on both shoulders. My joints hurt me when I stand for a period of time, or if I'm sitting for a period of time. So I think things like that, the physicality part, not mentally, but physically, you go, oh man, that ain't good, when you wake up. That's it.
What about that CBD oil? Would that help?
Yeah,
Does that help?
I've been taking it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Do you see results?
Well, I've just been taking it for the past week. Well, I got some. When I say taking it, I'm taking it. I put it underneath my tongue.
Is that what you do?
I put it, rub it on. There's massage oil. I rub it on my face. I rub it on my leg, and they it's funny because they put a joint in there for me, but it's a head high. I mean a body high, not a head high. A body high for your muscles.
Does it? Who turned you on to it?
Well, I was a company out here locally.
Okay.
In one of the malls. And
And you thought you'd give it a go.
and so I talked to the guy, and he said, "We'll get some stuff. We'll put a little package for you, little to-go bag." And they put this, and it's been tremendous. And I believe, CBD oil has been proven. It's not it's been proven to work, and so I'm going to use it as long as I can. And my doctors suggested I take it and use it before I even did. So now that it's all out, I'll be going back. Yeah, and it's funny because It's a joint, but you're not. It's you don't get like I said, not a head high. It's just a body high. But it felt good. I just felt good. Didn't give me no help, do anything to me. So, anyway, it was interesting. It was interesting.
I think they sell the Pro Shop now.
Yeah.
In,
in
in
Pro Shop
Avalon.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I think they
CBD
do.
oil, now you get them in gummies. You can get them in a lot of different ways. It's interesting, though. It's interesting. But I believe in CBD oil, and it's not the THC. It's CBD, which is the key oil in cannabis.
But you haven't
And,
felt any change yet.
No, not yet. But but look, I feel good. I mean, I get up when I get up in the morning, I'm able to get up. God bless. Thank God for another day, and go from there. And that's when I start. I guess that's. But when you asked about feeling old, that's what I do. I guess getting up in the morning, the aches and pains, all the stuff that my father said. Raymond, don't get old. Youth's a hell of a thing. Youth's a hell of a thing. I used to love that when he said it.
So my
But I know what he
grandfather used to say-
means, man.
My grandfather would always say, "Don't ever get old and don't ever get fat."
Well,
Yeah.
well, you.
Too late.
That's
That's strike two.
But that's strike two on you, man, Mike.
I know.
No,
I'm the oldest
Mike,
parent at
Mike,
every
no.
kids thing I go to.
Are you?
Oh, by
What
10 years.
What was the first time you had? Well, how old were you when you had your first child?
38.
Oh, I did not realize that.
Yeah.
That's Christmas. I didn't know
I
that.
did not know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I'm the oldest.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I don't even think half of the parents are 38 now.
Right.
Some of them.
Well, my father was 47 years older than me. I thought he was my grandfather. No, that's my
He was in
father.
his 40s?
My father's 40. When I was born, it was 40. He was 42.
How about that?
42. Yeah, 42
God
years
bless
old.
him.
Yeah. So by the time I was 10, I was 10 years old. They thought, oh, is that your grandfather? No, that's my father. So, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
Anywho. I hope you enjoyed today's show, man. We just try to get different people on, talk about different things. And I always find I find interesting people in everyday walk of life. I don't, celebrities stuff, they're not that interesting to me. What are you going to tell you that you can't read online? I want to talk to people behind the scenes. We try to give you insight to whether it be production. I'm going to take the production.
Hey, while you do that, check that out, and I will remind people about Sunrise Pizza and the
Yes.
Sunrise Inn.
Yes, our
How
sponsors.
fantastic they are,
Yes.
and thank you so much for sponsoring this program
Yes.
because we really
And
appreciate
of
it.
course, Avalon.
And Avalon, the
Avalon
Grand Resort, and Avalon Golf and Country Club.
Right.
Thanks to those folks.
It's
for
the only joint was the only joint in town when I was growing up. So
letting
and
us
it's
have
still the
space.
best. It's still the best.
So nice. So
Anything else?
that's it.
I'll be back next week.
Are we on
we'll
next
be back.
Tuesday? We're on next Tuesday,
Are we,
right?
are we not?
All right. Let's
Yes,
do it.
I believe we are. And
And we can talk about the pay-per-view.
We'll talk about the pay-per-view
Right?
fight. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And we'll have another guest. We'll never know. That's the thing about this. We never know what guest and John, my producer, goes, yeah, I don't even know until 10 minutes before. But we'll figure. We'll get somebody good, John. I'll get somebody.
Yeah.
I got to get somebody. I got to think about it for a little bit.
It makes it.
I got to think about it.
It makes
Let
it
me
better
think.
for me too. Why prepare? For an
Why?
interview?
No,
Just wing the damn
spontaneity.
thing.
Like when
See
you
how
meet
it
somebody,
goes.
when you meet a girl, right?
No,
First,
you don't
when you
prepare.
first somebody and you meet her and there's that connection. I want to get a cup of coffee. That's the spontaneity, man. That's the magic. Let's go. When you're dancing on the floor with someone the first time. Now it's like it's like you got to set a date for playtime.
Oh yeah, you
It's
got to
like, it's a
research
date.
everything. It's
I gotta,
so fun.
do we have it's a date Saturday mornings? Gotta be Friday nights. No, I'm too tired for that. Oh, okay. Saturday morning, I guess.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm with
Anyhow,
you.
no, spontaneity. Spontaneity is the key to spice of life, man. You meet a girl, hey, why don't we fly to Vegas tonight? Used to do that back in the day.
Yeah.
Can't do that now.
Oh.
No, but
That's when you were paying for
but
Coach.
but when it was wonderful.
Take two.
What are you doing tonight? I used to get this. No, I can't. What am I doing? I'm talking.
I don't know, but I can't wait to hear this story.
No, I used to say,
Wait, you met a girl and took her to Vegas the same day?
I used to call my parents and they go, when I'd travel doing my traveling expeditions,
Huh?
and I'd call, I'll be home tomorrow, Mama. Are you coming home alone? I'm
Doubtful?
not sure yet. Not
Doubtful?
sure about that. And then, so my a friend of mine said, when people say, "What do you do?" He said, "He's in the import business." You're an import. He said he's in the import-export. Yeah. And then, so after I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, if you bring in a girl, you're sending her out, you're import-export.
importing
So
and
so
exporting.
so I used to say, Italian meat is Braciole.
Braciole.
Braciole is Italian meat, right? But that was a slang we had for girls back in the day. Braciole. Not in a bad way. It was not a bad. Just meaning.
Not that they were a
no,
piece
no,
of
just
meat.
no,
That's not what they meant.
Meaning just meaning. No, it was just a good looking girl. Like, oh, look, you see that braciole? Look at that braciole. It was kind of good. Well, I was an import export. When did you import export? Braciole. Okay, that didn't go over well. I can see. I can hear.
Did you ever,
collective gasp.
No, I love it.
And yeah, I thought.
Did you ever go to bed at 10 with the 2 and wake up at 2 with the 10? Or whatever. Go to bed at 2 with the 10 and wake up at 10 with the 2? That happens in college.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I went to Orange College. I went to the College of Hard Knocks.
Oh, yeah.
That's what my son tells me. Pop, you never went to college. I said, no, man. I told you, I have a master's
Degree in honors.
life. I have a master's in life.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get that twisted. Master's in life.
So you met a lady and you took her to Vegas the same day?
What do you mean? So what are you doing tonight? I'm hanging out. Hey, let's go to Vegas. See, back in the day, back then you could. We'd be at 7 o'clock at night. What do you want to do tonight? Well, why don't we go to Vegas?
This is when
you
you
go
lived
right
in-
there and you get a cheap flight. You go to Vegas.
Yeah.
You bounce from 10 to 6 in the morning, 4 or 5. Collect a 7 o'clock flight. Boom.
Oh, you never went to
No,
you
in and
stayed
out
up all night.
That was when Vegas was Vegas. Back in the late 80s, early
Vegas,
90s.
baby.
That was Vegas was 80s, mid 80s, late 80s.
Yeah.
Early 80s, yeah, 80s. Let's just say 80s.
the
The
80s,
whole collective, the whole decade. Early 90s. Mom, I got.
Those were the days.
I got married in '89, so that kind of cut it
No,
off.
it
for
wasn't
me
the
there.
early 90s.
That
probably.
wasn't not the early 90s, but no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Was
Because 89 was my cutoff date.
Oh, yeah, we had to end it.
I had to cut it.
Everybody gets a cutoff.
Well, but we had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, it was a good time. Anyhow, Vegas is not the same anymore. I guess that's the ultimate. What we're trying to say. Are we saying goodbye yet?
Why? Why?
People are saying, "Well,
They
you
don't
just
have
say goodbye for crying out
$2
loud."
steak and lobster?
Woo! What?
They don't have the $2.99 steak and lobster anymore?
Okay, great. Here's my classic line.
there we go.
This will end it. They say, "You have dinner?" I said, "Yeah." They'd say, "I said, would you like any wine?" I said, "Yeah, 2 bottles. One for me to drink, one for to pour all over her."
What's wrong with that?
that was then later. I did. It kind of got a chuckle. And then at the end, would you like dessert? Yes, 2. One for me, one for to rub all over her later on.
What's wrong with that?
That was the clothes of Lauren back in the day. You know what the clothes was?
Lauren's getting all
I put
sweaty.
on a little. Marvin Gaye was the closer.
Mm-hmm.
2 songs. 2. Well, no, it was 3 actually. 2 Marvin Gaye, but Marvin had 2 songs. It was at that time, "Sexual Healing" was the big song, or "Let's Get It On." Ooh, the other one, one more. Tanny Pendergrass, TP. "Turn out the lights and light a candle." That's it. That was a wrap. It was a done deal. Wrap.
Someday I would like to meet the woman that fell for that. That's who I want to meet. Or all the women. One woman that fell for that.
It was a
who I
closer.
wanna
It was a wrap. It was a done deal. It was a done deal. All right, anyhow. Oh, God, we're not going to go on about my escapades and
I don't know
all
why
that
not.
other good stuff.
I don't
Well,
know.
those are stories. They're good stories. Good stories. All about the stories. Remember, in life, when you get old, be like an old man like me and Mike. It's all about the stories. It's about the stories. What are you going to talk about? The stories. Do you remember when?
And the older you get, you don't really care if anybody's listening.
And no.
You just still
and
tell the
you can
stories.
embellish, color it up.
Oh, yeah.
Because half of them are going to be gone anyway. Who's going to question it?
Yeah.
So
People are
anyhow,
dead.
that's the story. That's it. All right. Until next time, take care of each other, love each other. Good night and God bless.